this is Peter at Tackle Mackay. Today we'll be talking about Sooty Grunter. I'll be giving you a few tips and tricks that I use to catch Sooty Grunter, where I go about finding Sooty Grunter, how I target them, and the lures I use. The sooties come in a variety of different colours, from jet black to a bronzy colour and the colours in between. The sooties are, the main thing when you're chasing sooties is where they're going to be in the water column. Early in the morning when there's no sun on the water, because the sooties haven't got any eyelids, so they don't like that direct glare, so they'll be higher in the water table, up on top of weed beds. And then as the sun comes up, those fish will drop off the weed beds, drop down into holes in the weed beds, drop off the edge of that into deeper water. And in the trees, they'll either go in behind the tree, so they're in the shade a bit, or they'll drop down deeper in the water column. Same as your creek banks, your river banks. The ones that have got shade on it, they'll move over that side of the creek. So, and then as the sun gets higher, they go deeper in the water column. And then sometimes, depends, they'll be right down sitting on the bottom. Depends on temperature what they like. They'll move up and down in that water column to a temperature that they like. Right, we're going to talk about targeting the sooties in the low light situation, which is early in the morning before the sun gets on the water, and then late in the afternoon when the actual sun drops down. Good presentations are poppers, like little Helcos, the Rapala skitter pops, your stratas, your little Sammies, any surface lures that throw them in underneath the trees, where a lot of times the shags roost in the trees at night time, or any birds roosting. It's a good thing to throw your poppers in there and work your poppers. And up on the weed beds, just work your poppers over the top of that weed beds in early light, on the edge of banks, anywhere, and normally the sooties will take that metal treble. So a few little pops, leave it sit for a while, and then just work your popper out. So, and the good thing about sooties, normally when you find them, they'll attack your popper a few times. So if you miss it on the first strike, just throw it back in there and you'll normally get them on the second. Yeah, okay, we've done the top of the water column. Now the sun's come up, the fish are going to drop deeper. They're going to come off those weed edges into the deeper holes, into the gullies and such. So the lures I like to change to then, I like the Bassman spinner baits. You get these in different weights, colours and such, but they're a really good lure. The other lures that I like to throw around are bibless crankbaits, like the cotton cordell, you get the jackals, any of those types of lures. And bibbed lures like the little Reedy's Lucifer, you get the pointers, anything that gets down, bashes into the branches, makes a bit of noise. Sooties love that sort of stuff. And last is all your soft plastic, any type of soft plastics, that sort of 3 inch stuff. You get your gulps, you get your swim mullets, the Z-mans, any soft paddle tail, jig head, weedless, run it in around all that sort of stuff. And yeah, and that's what I target my sooties on. Yeah, if you want to chase a few sooties in our local area, all our stocked impoundments have sooties put in them. So that's Kinchant, Timbra, Youngler. Youngler is probably #1 for sooties, just a magic dam. You've got the Pioneer River up at Marion, around the rocks and such, Cattle Creek. How Pioneer Valley is just loaded with sooties, so you can do a bit of that land base, or get in your boat, go do the impoundments and have some fun, because they're a magic fish. Rightio, these are a few tips and tricks that I use to target my sooties, mainly in structure like the flooded trees, rocks and stuff. Floating little bibless lures. You can crank them down around the trees. As soon as you feel a bump into a tree, just stop it. Because they'll float, you float it up over that branch and then you work it back down. So you can tiptoe these type of lures through all the branches. As soon as you feel it hit a branch, stop it, let it float back out. Your soft plastics, any of your curl tails, you can go to jig heads, vary your different weights for what you know, if you want a fast fall or a slower fall. And then if you're worried about getting snagged, then you can turn around and place a worm hook in the same lure. It just makes them weedless, so you're not getting caught up all the time. Another trick is that if I've got cloudy days, I'll go to that goldy colour in that lower light, and then if I get the sun comes out in pockets, I'll change over to a chrome lure. It gives a lot more flash in that water, and sometimes that'll be a difference between getting a fish and not getting a fish, is just changing your colours of your lures. Thirdly, I like lures that you can cover a lot of ground with, that you've got the confidence in. So you're covering a lot of ground with a lure, and that's where these spinnerbaits come in. The good thing about a spinnerbait, in the water it rolls that way, so your hooks are up so you can run it through structure. It's pretty weedless, but you will still get caught up sometimes. If you stop whining, you can float it down beside trees. And another thing with spinnerbaits, count them down to the depth on different retrieves, so that'll, if the fish are down at 15 feet, count it down, roll it through. So then it's a lure that you can find fish with by just allowing it to sink down, work it through the water table. If you count them down, you remember what you counted, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, pull it through, and you're getting bites, well, that's what you run at. And another prospecting lure, like Jackal's bibulus crankbaits, are the same thing. Throw them out, count them down, work them, hop them, burn them. Yeah, just change up your retrieves. And another little trick with your spinnerbaits, you got to have a blood knot, a uni knot that pulls up tight on that wire. You can't have a loop knot on them, they won't work properly. I hope all these tricks and tips have helped you out today. Drop into Tackle World Mackay and ask the boys, they're all switched on, and drop in and say g'day, and we'll help you out with some sooty lures.